I'm Elvis Presley. This is the Sullivan Project Podcast. Thank you very much for listening. Born to with a face pitching, bottle of gin in possession. Takes a licking, keeps on ticking. He is a man on a mission.
What's up, y'all? A little out of practice there. Welcome to the Sullivan Project Podcast. I'm your host, Harold Sullivan. Yeah, I record these things sometimes like 4 or 5 ahead of time, so uh, I get a little out of practice what to do there. As far as how fast to set up everything, and then I got these new intros and whatnot that I'm trying to put in, but I got them on audio recorder, so I got to do all that manually. And I lost my sight 4 years ago, in case y'all haven't tuned in before. You can see I can't move my arms much on my body. So I was born with an autoimmune disease. It's been a tough road. But we all have a story. Everyone has a story, and you can't judge a book by its cover. And that's what this podcast is about, talking computers. You know, and like I said, I'm Harold Sullivan. And that was Elvis. Thank you, Elvis. And we're here to talk about Smallville today and Baywatch. And I just got all kinds of stuff. The Beatles are on my mind. Some new music on here. Check out Harold Sullivan 78 on YouTube and TikTok. Harold Sullivan _35 Facebook. That's where you can find old episodes. Anything to do with the podcast, music, some trailers, concept trailers going on. Celebrity cameos on the podcast as well. 420 subscribers as I record this. So we'll see what the deal is when it comes out. I love y'all. I'm just so grateful that people are listening. I'm not really getting any calls. And you can't call the show, 724-513-1472. And you can email hs19782015@outlook.com. Not really a lot of calls, but we're getting subscribers and followers and ads and likes and that. I appreciate it. Don't be afraid to reach out. We do video or audio guests. If you just want to get something out, I can say it for you. Just leave a message. Or if you want to even be part of the show, or if you want to contact me about the music, I got plenty of lyrics I've been writing, and I'll give them away free. You know, I've done some music with AI. I just want to help the world. You know what I mean? Whatever I can do. One man is every man. We can all make a difference, you know. Go check out, I got a Christopher Reeve Superman PSA that's on I think it's on all three. Yeah, YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook. Just a lot going on. I'm just trying to keep busy. I told God after I lost my sight here and I'm still here, I said I'm going to do whatever I can to help, whatever I can. I went to church a few times. The pastor said I couldn't really do anything because I'm in a wheelchair and this other stuff. I said, you know what? I can make a difference. We all can. And we all need each other, like a link in a fence. You know what I mean? We're only as strong as we are together. But let's do this. So let's get into some reviews. And like I said, I appreciate y'all. Check up on me, you know, leave me a message, comment something, or just share the stuff. And let's get 500. I never thought I'd get 100 subscribers. And it's not about that. I just want to help people. And if one thing I say helps them, you know, with their drama or pain, you know, your pain is your strength, not your weakness. These are little Sullyisms I've come up with, so write those down too. I appreciate it. My goddaughter, Gabriella, just had her 3rd birthday, September 3rd. Little angel. Adeline's in November. She'll be 2. So, all right, yeah, Smallville season 4. Let's do that. Boy, I'm going along on. They've got 10 seasons. I'm in season 4. I had to stop for a few days because I don't want to get into the next season, and then they all start to go together. But season 4 is really good. It's right up there with the first season, maybe second too. It's not going down as far as quality in Smallville. They've kind of spent the first few seasons setting up all these different areas, so which is smart. They had a plan and you could tell they were doing something ahead of time, and they had good writers, kind of like Supernatural and a few other shows, maybe X Files. I mean, shows used to be that way. Now they kind of just write it every week. It seems like the new Quantum Leap. The old Quantum Leap was A plus. The new one they just wrote every week. It seemed like. But anyway, yeah. So in season 4, oh my gosh, Jonathan gets hurt a few times, of course, and then I do believe spoilers. He ends up dying finally at the end of the season. Clark loses his abilities again a few times. My gosh, Lex dies and comes back uh, again, but different ways. Oh, Lois Lane gets introduced. Clark loses. He gets amnesia. Actually, that's what happens again. He gets amnesia again. That's happened a few times in the first few seasons. Lois finds him. Lois is introduced. The Flash is introduced. A character called the Flash. Also, there's 3 or 4 of them. Supergirl, kind of not Supergirl. I think she came in season 3. Clark's girlfriend, the crazy girl, comes back who can go through things. Teleporter. She's back. There's a lot that I don't want to say. Chloe dies and comes back. I guess we could say that. Pete's gone, hasn't come back yet, but eventually he does come back for a little bit. I remember. Lionel turns good, kind of. We maybe, and Lex gets electroshock. I believe that's what happens, and he ends up split in two. At one point, there's an evil Lex and a good Lex. Oh wow, there's a lot going on. But season 4, I'd probably give it the same as season 1, actually 8, and maybe season 2 and 3 in between, 7.5, 7, something like that. Season 4 though, Smallville, they brought in lots of characters. There was a couple other characters from Superman's history, and I can't quite. Oh, Mixoplex, yeah, Mixoplex, whatever his name is. Flash, a few of them. What's his name? Not great. The guy, I think he ends up being Martian Manhunter, but he's a football player who runs really fast instead. Johns is his name. It's either that or he ends up being Cyborg. I don't remember in the comics, Jeff Johns, but that character shows up in Smallville. So yeah, there's a rating on Smallville. The new Karate Kid Legends, I just rented it for like $5. It's good. You know what? It's a you know how they say sequels are, well, a lot of people claim that certain sequels are better than the first ones, and I don't go with that for a lot. Now, Terminator 2 is kind of close to Terminator 1 for me. Superman 2 depends on what cut, but mostly it's Godfather, no way. Godfather 2 is better or even as good as 1. Star Wars, maybe, but I think the first A New Hope is better. But this Karate Kid Legends is definitely better than the Karate Kid, the first one with Jackie Chan and Jaden Smith. I mean, that movie, I don't even understand. It was Kung Fu, not karate. But this one changes it a little bit. Ralph Macchio's in there. There's some funniness between Ralph Macchio and Jackie Chan. It kind of explains how they all link up together. There is no Jaden Smith, so they really don't even have to count that. So I'm like, I don't know why they made that. If they had to make it to get to this, because you could really not even have that and still have this. But it's good. I'd probably give it 7 to 7.5 out of 10. And it's Ralph Macchio. I mean, he was good as a Karate Kid. I was a fan of the originals. I had the little toys. You squeeze the legs and the guys would punch, or you squeeze the arms together and the guys would kick. They're little figures. That was the high-tech action figures we had back then. Or stuff that would change color like cars and you put them in water. Or stuff that squirted water, like water guns out of the action figures' chest. Just different kinds. Not the Karate Kid, but. So I got that review going there. Also, there's a documentary about After Baywatch, it's called. I had no idea there was so much. And I knew, I didn't realize Nicole Eggert was only on there one season and a few other things. Hasselhoff, the little boy who ended up playing his son, Leonardo DiCaprio, almost got that job. He went in the audition. So he could have been the little Hasselhoff's kid instead. But there was a lot of drug problems with a lot of those people. And Carmen Electra, I believe, came off of there. I didn't notice uh, Prince gave her name, Carmen Electra. So her original name was pretty too, though. I thought it was Carmen something or whatever. I don't know. Or not Carmen, Cara something. Something like that. But it was pretty anyway. I don't know why people don't want to just be them. I mean, it took me losing my eyesight and a bunch of 40-some years worth of help pretty much to realize to just be you and be happy and love that. And then cry. And get to the point where you can cry unconditionally because you love yourself and you don't want to be anybody else. Once you realize that the stuff that everybody else does or what they go through, their life is not any easier. And plus, easy never evolved. That's one of my soloisms. So it's not always good if it's easy, you know. Worth the learning in that. But the Baywatch show, check it out. I recommend that. Baywatch. The Shining, there's another documentary called Room 237, I think, or just 237. And it's about The Shining. I talked about The Shining documentary, A Clockwork The Shining, recently. And this is a different one about The Shining and Kubrick putting all this stuff in his movies. A little like Easter eggs, way before Easter eggs. And then they even talk more about the moon landing being fake and Kubrick shooting it. And I still feel that is somewhat true because I don't think we went and landed on the moon and walked around and all that stuff. A giant leap for mankind, that was fake, in my opinion. But hey, I wasn't there. You know, I can only feel the vibe. What do y'all's vibe tell you? You know, check out that one. Computer, what are my stickies? Computer, what are my stickies?
I found 24
Computer,
notes.
what is my sticky number 5?
Your 5th sticky note is Too Fast, Too John, Smallville, The Beatles get back shining after Baywatch Karate Kid.
Okay, so after Baywatch, The Karate Kid, and then we got Smallville, and then we got Too Fast, Too Furious. I did review of Fast and Furious recently, and Too Fast, Too Furious is pretty good too. I'd probably put that up right with number 1. Different story, different characters, more or less. There's no Vin Diesel. You got crap. I keep forgetting his name, but he comes in and he plays. Paul Walker is in it again, and he's not a cop anymore, or he is. You have to check it out. But his buddy plays Ramon. I can't remember his name, but he was going to Tyrese Gibson is in it. He's pretty good. He's funny, them two together. It's a different kind of movie. Well, a lower budget, probably less, not as big stunts, but very good in a different way. And I like them too. And then eventually the whole crew got together in like part 4 or 5 because they're in a different order. Tokyo Drift came out as part 3, but it's not supposed to take place till later. So I'm going to do them in order. But I'll give that about an 8 out of 10. That's as high as I give movies are probably 8. And I'm lenient, so I give Fast 1 and 2 probably 8. Fast and Furious. And then there's a documentary about 20 years of Fast and Furious stunts, which is very good. Talk about all the stunts and how they first started off. They could only do certain things, and then how they figured out how to do all these great. You know, and I never checked out the movies for that. I was into, you know, story and character and feeling something, and then that's something extra. And especially without sight now. I mean, I don't care what it looks like. A movie isn't good just because of the visuals. If it doesn't have visuals, you know, like for me, I'm blind, but everything else is good, then the movie's going to be good. I don't need to see it. So that's good there. The Beatles Get Back as a documentary on Disney Plus. A lot of this is on Disney. It's 5 or 6 parts, I think, maybe. And it's following like that last year. They were kind of together and they were going to make a movie. And they were just a lot of good stuff. I mean, I learned a lot about music making. A lot of their stuff, like they were saying, it was just rubbish. And it was rubbish. And they were just making up music and then words to go with it. But it sounded good because it was them together. And McCartney and Lennon especially. And then that too, you know, Harrison and Ringo Starr, just together, all 4, just something there. Didn't matter what they were singing about, because most of the time, yeah, they were making up lines. That sounds cool. Let's make a song, and it's great. And all the stuff was good. You know, check them out. The Beatles, Get Back. Also, John Williams, a great composer. has a few things on. There's like the music of John Williams, and then there's an actual documentary about John Williams, who created E.T., Star Wars, Superman, Jaws, which is dun dun, only two notes. Uh, all these great movies, Jurassic Park. He started off doing like Lost in Space, the theme for that show, and just TV shows. And he was actually in a band and did blues. And then all of a sudden, he's writing and doing an orchestra and making music sound. I don't know what you'd call it, but movie soundtrack, creating the themes for history. It's just awesome. John Williams. He's like John, John Carpenter did Halloween in his movies, but John Williams did every movie. Hundreds of movies probably, if not more than that. So go check out those two. Just check out John Williams. I believe it's the music of John Williams and something like that. And the other one is just about John Williams' life. So I love y'all, and this is a lot to check out, And you know the themes when you hear E.T., and when you hear Superman, you hear Indiana Jones. It's John Williams. All those movies. Just great. Da, 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 da. Indiana Jones, like a cowboy. And you hear it and you automatically think of, but people don't know. Somebody put that on the piano, wrote that. Jaws, like I said, two notes. Da, 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 da. But without that, there's no Jaws. Just like Halloween, there's no Halloween without the music. So I love y'all. Love is a choice, and so is the hate.